I live to travel. Traveling has been something that I've been in love with ever since I was a little kid. My family always loved taking trips, places, whether that was within the country or out of the country. I think if I had lived in the small town that I grew up in, which was Green Bay, Wisconsin, all my life, then I would be a completely different person. Ever since I moved to Wisconsin, I've traveled to around 14 countries, and going to each one and seeing the different cultures and living in those cultures for short periods of time has given me a greater knowledge of what it's like to really be alive and how different people live in different ways. And I think there's great benefit in traveling. One, it makes you happier because you feel, well, you can explore new places, eat new foods, meet new people. And it's also beneficial because you can see the world from a different perspective. And I think the first country that I've been to that has made me see the world that way was Cuba. Because when you go to Cuba, everything is really tight and restricted, and the people of Cuba, like their whole lives, they're told that like Americans are the like root of their problems. And it's just interesting to go to a country where everybody looks at you differently. I went to Cuba in 2017, like spring of 2017. We took off from somewhere in the northeastern part of the US. It was like a 3-hour flight. And then when we got there, we were greeted by lots of people, and first thing I noticed was all the cars were from the 1950s because they hadn't like communicated with the outside world to get more things like that. So it was just weird to see that. And so we took a taxi in like some really old classic car, went to the hotel, and first thing I noticed was, well, the cars, but then the bigger thing, which was shocking, was, so there's Havana, which is where we stayed, and then there was Old Havana. There's such a precise difference between the two that it's actually crazy, because in Havana, everything is like sort of newer, like not that different from the US. It's very different, but like say like a small town. And then as soon as you cross this river into Old Havana, everything is like, it looks like you're in like an apocalypse because it's all like ruins, like dirty, like homeless people everywhere. And it was really sad to see that, but it was really eye-opening for me. And I think that changed me a lot to see the world in that way. But traveling is also really like a fun thing because like I was saying earlier, the US, like sometimes you can feel like congested, like maybe, I don't know, just different. But when you go to Iceland, everybody there is super happy. It's so beautiful there. There's lots of waterfalls, there's the northern lights, and there's such good food. And I think going there was something that made me a lot happier, and especially with the Faroe Islands, because it's so relaxed. And I think that was really eye-opening for me, just to see how much fun I could have in different places that I never thought would be any different than the US. I think traveling has made me a better person.